This is Shaw. Shaw and Rule, they grew up together.
He doesn't even know I exist. Besides, he's got like a million girls.
I'm really thrilled to chat with you both for this movie. I watched it earlier this morning to be nice and refreshed, and it was really quite the moving drama. I loved both of your characters in this film and their arcs. But to start, Sydney, if you'd like to start, and then Chase, obviously this comes from the world of Jay Crownover's novel series, and I'm curious if either of you were familiar with the books prior to being approached for the film, or if you found that you dove right in when you learned about the movie being in the works.
I hadn't heard of the books, no, but during my audition process, I got the book. I got a physical copy of the book and started reading that. I read a lot, so I started going through and highlighting different things that really resonated with me, and making different like notes in my sides of like things I wanted to add in from the book to the script and things like that. And I brought the book with me to Bulgaria, and I referenced it a lot throughout filming. Of course, you don't want to hold on to it too tight, I think. If you're going to make an adaptation, I think it needs to be adapted. If you're going to do the exact same thing, then might as well just keep it the book. But I think that the differences throughout the film and the book, I really love. And I think that it's what makes the movie so special is that it is a little bit different, but still the same world, the same characters that everybody loves, the same story. I just think that we got to put our own spin on it, which I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of the novels, and I when I was approached for this project, and I was happily surprised to dive into it. And Jay, the fingerprints are all over the movie, and what an incredible human to allow Nick to put his 2 cents in on it. And she was very pleased with the final product. And it was really nice to know that the author had a lot of input on the project.
It's not often that we hear that with novel projects, unfortunately. So I'm glad to hear that Jay was plenty involved in the development of this film. So obviously your guys' relationship is the core of this film, but I love the way it starts as these almost family-like friends, but then develops into something further. What was it like, finding that initial connection that Rule and Shaw have, and then developing it from there with each other?
Yeah, I think it's in the source material. It's in the book, that they were always kind of coexisting, but not really existing. And so, having that to kind of rely on, and having somebody at the helm like Nick Cassavetes, who is helping you find those ebbs and flows, is, can't ask for a better person to do it. But I think, Sid and I just cared deeply about telling the story, and I don't want to speak for her, but I just knew that, giving a new spin on what love could look like from two people who are probably more similar than they'd like to admit to, but are walking in different lanes of life. What does that look like, and accepting somebody for their flaws and with their flaws, and not asking them to change, but just asking them to adjust, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I think that with their relationship, thank you. I think with their relationship specifically, you're right that they were coexisting. They weren't necessarily friends, but they had been in each other's lives for so long that they had such a great foundational understanding of each other that when things did transfer over into more complicated relationship, they did have that foundation that not everybody gets to have. You don't get to know, your partner for like 5-6 years before you get together usually. That's such a beautiful thing that I have that aided their relationship so much, I think, in that they understood each other so greatly before anything physical happened, that there was no judgment clouding in their love for each other, because they loved each other so much as people first, which I think is so rare and what made their relationship work so much.
It really is not often we see a relationship to develop the way this one has, and I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy seeing the arc of it throughout this film. So Chase, I'll turn back to you because we talk about characters with flaws, and Rule is certainly one who he has that heart of gold, but he has so much weighing him down that it's hard to break through that. What is that like for you from the performance side? Really finding that balance between the lighter sides of him as well as those really heartbreaking sides.
Sure. I think trusting on instinct was a big thing on this one. The nuance of the character, and finding the places where you can allow those little like pockets of light to come out, and letting the audience in a little bit, but not fully letting them in, and really finding the timing of that. And honestly, having the trust in your director and your scene partners to let that kind of go. And that's, I think, just a testament to the script, to the world that was created for us, and I felt really safe kind of stepping into this, and a lot of freedom, truthfully, to play and to bring this character to life. So it was a real joy, honestly, to find those moments, and to know that I was safe with Nick and Sid, and letting Will come to life.
I love that. And so, Sydney, I'll turn back to you because this is sort of your first real R-rated thing, and there is some intimacy scenes in this, and I'd love to hear from your perspective, what it was like finding that trust with Chase, with Nick, the crew, to really be able to make those scenes feel real, but make them feel like they're still you, and you feel safe as well, because those can be very vulnerable scenes to film.
Right. We had a lovely intimacy coordinator named Corinne, who I'm still friends with to this day. So that was very crucial for me, and especially being so young, and it's so, unfortunately, so common for people to get taken advantage of or get pressured into things that they don't want to do. So having that middleman always at your side was really great for me. I felt very safe with Nick, the director, as well as Chase. They both made a really big effort to make sure that I felt comfortable in every way, and like moment to moment, even of just like, if I was, just because you were okay with something 10 minutes ago, if something shifts, it's okay to say something. And I did feel very safe to do so. And then in actually performing the scenes, it is so mechanical. Like it's literally choreographed. The intimacy coordinator meets with the director. They talk about what they want the scene to look like. They talk about what the shots are going to be. You work everything out like a dance. You go through everything. You make sure you're okay, that each person is okay. We checked on each other all the time. And so I had a really good experience. There was nothing that I could say negatively about that process, even though it can be so uncomfortable and difficult to be so vulnerable on camera when you know that the crew are like behind the closed door. Luckily it was a closed set, but it can be difficult to wrestle with the fact that people are going to see you in that way. But I just think as an actor, you just sort of have to put that behind you and know that you have a vulnerable job, and that this aids in telling the story, and then telling the story was really important to me.
Well, I'm really glad that Nick and everybody really worked with you to find that trust and everything, because, it does, like you say, it does fit the story well in this film, and it makes for it also makes for a few funny scenes, admittedly. There's a few little good bits in there that I love. So I see I'm coming up on time. So Chase, I want to turn back to you. As someone who lives in South Carolina, I am eager for the final chapter of Outer Banks. I'm curious to hear, have you heard any updates on when cameras might begin rolling for season 5 yet?
No rumble in the jungle. Netflix like to keep things very tight-lipped. So we're waiting patiently. I think, obviously we want to finish this story in the ways that hopefully, the world also wants us to do it right. So I think the writers are diligently working away to, figure out how to close this chapter of TV and move on to the next. So nothing yet, but I'm sure sooner than later for sure.
Well, I look forward to hearing those updates, but in the meantime, I look forward to putting the word out about Marked Men. You're both incredible in it, and there's a really moving story at the heart of it that I think people are going to love. So thank you both so much for taking the time to chat with me. I truly do appreciate it.
Friend, appreciate it.
If you saw me with another guy, would you be okay with it?
Who's this Make-A-Wish George Clooney?
Yeah, we're kind of busy right now, pal.
Let me buy you a drink.